Stylish and now one of the best values in America. Yes, for a limited time, buy the Super NES Super Set and get 5 complete Mario games standard. Mario! You'll find the Super Set is like no other system. In performance, handling, and Mode 7 control, you'll get Super Mario World. And for $3.50 in postage, Super Mario All-Stars free with 4 Mario games in one. Mario! So stop by your Nintendo dealer today.
Welcome back to Retro Rebound. In today's video, we are rebounding right off of Nintendo because they don't care about you. Let's get straight into it. So this channel is all about celebrating video games, especially older ones. We have the complete in-box copies, we break them open, we talk about what's special about the game. It's a place for loving on games because there's already enough negative places in the internet. I wanted to create a positive one, and I'm happy you're here to join me. Today's video, I'm going to be honest with you, not as positive. We'll get back to all of that stuff later on, but this news does affect retro game collectors. It affects game ownership, and those are things I'm quite passionate about and I wanted to bring more attention to because, again, I'll say it a lot of times here, Nintendo doesn't care about you. Why is that? Well, recently news broke about this console here. Remember this bad boy here, the Nintendo 3DS? It has the eShop with the virtual console where you can play a lot of your older games, say goodbye to them, and say hello to brand new high prices on the market. And Nintendo's giving us a pretty big heads up 1 year in advance, but the issue here is about ownership of video games. So in a change of pace, we're going to be going through a lot of the news blurbs here, and I'll be highlighting why Nintendo doesn't care about you. Again, I'm going to be a broken record in this video because it's something I'm very passionate about, that Nintendo is all about monetizing their nostalgia. So this update comes through their Nintendo support blog post where they write Wii U and Nintendo 3DS eShop discontinuation. So when I saw this, I thought, well, that actually kind of makes sense. The Nintendo Switch just passed 100 million sales. We really don't need the eShop around. It was about time they sunset it. But I was a bit surprised at some of the choices that they're making here. So they write, as of late March 2023, it will no longer be possible to make purchases in the Nintendo eShop for the Wii U system and the Nintendo 3DS family of systems. So it doesn't matter what version you have. It will also no longer be possible to download free content, including game demos. Furthermore, as this date draws closer, related services will cease to function. As of May 23rd, 2022, it will no longer be possible to use a credit card to add funds to an account in the Nintendo eShop on Wii U or Nintendo 3DS family of systems. And as of August 29, 2019, it will no longer be possible to use a Nintendo eShop card to add funds to an account in the Nintendo eShop on Wii U or the Nintendo 3DS family of systems. However, it will still be possible to redeem download codes until late March 2023. Even after late March 2023 and the foreseeable future, it will still be possible to re-download games and DLC, receive software updates, and enjoy online play on Wii U and Nintendo 3DS's family of systems. Now, they do have a little FAQ beneath it, because right now, does it all seem doom and gloom? No, like the online services are there, you can still play your games, you can download what you own, but Nintendo's pushing you directly in a position you do not want to be in. So they write, why is this happening? This is a part of the natural life cycle of any product as it becomes less used by the consumers over time. Notice how they practically gaslight you right away and they go, it's because you're not using it. It's not because we're trying to push you into our subscription service. No, you're not using it. You're not playing it. You're not using these virtual console games. No, you want our subscription service, right? This is all you. Give me a break, okay? Now, they have also in this FAQ, how long will it still be possible to re-download previously purchased content in the Nintendo eShop for Wii U or the 3DS family of systems? How long would those systems still support online play? They just write, for the foreseeable future, it will still be possible to re-download games and DLC, receive software updates, and enjoy online play on Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS family of systems. I don't like that answer. I don't like that it is foreseeable future. The fact that you have a date for when you're going to kill this thing, but you don't know, it can go away at any point. You know what this reeks of? For those of you who are longtime Retro Rebound viewers, it reminds me of the PlayStation Vita. When PlayStation was coming in, killing the PS3 store, and they were killing the Vita store, and you could see there are remnants of the dead Vita store that was previously being torn down. If you open it up, I highlighted it in my video, you'll see some of the images on the storefront, the thumbnails for games torn down. So Nintendo is likely already in that process now. And they're saying that, yeah, at least for the foreseeable future, you'll be able to get the games that are there. Now, this was a part of a Kotaku article, and I typically don't use Kotaku, but they were the only site I found citing this. And it's something that wasn't available in the FAQ, but is available on their website. Once it is no longer possible to purchase software in Nintendo's eShop on Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS family of systems, many classic games for past platforms will cease to be available for purchase anywhere. Will you make classic games available to own some other way? If not, then why? Doesn't Nintendo have an obligation to preserve its classic games by continually making them available for purchase? They say, across our Nintendo Switch online membership plans, over 130 classic games are available in growing libraries for various legacy systems. The games are often enhanced with new features such as online play. We think this is an effective way to make classic content easily available to a broad range of players. Within these libraries, new and longtime players can not only find games they remember or have heard about, but other fun games they might not have thought to seek out otherwise. We currently have no plans to offer classic content in other ways. Bad decision. Bad decision here. Wee woo, wee woo. Sound the alarms. They are pushing you right into a subscription service future, and subscription services are not owning anything. Remember when we all thought that Daredevil, Punisher, those were safe on Netflix, and then Disney and Marvel came in and said, get out of here! Get out of here! You're taking those off the network. Exactly. That is the problem with subscription service. While I love Game Pass, for example, there is an issue with ownership that is going to continue to grow in gaming. I am so passionate about this because digital convenience is not worth it if you do not own your games in my eyes. I respect it. I get why a lot of people need it. House space, for example, so you need all your games digitally. I get the need for it. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the problem. They are trying to dismantle everything. They're not offering it on the Switch. Everyone's been begging for Virtual Console because for them, they may not have the shelf space for something like this. They want to download it on Virtual Console. Totally understandable. And now you got to wait for Nintendo to come around and release another NES game, an SNES game, the occasional celebration of an N64 game on Switch Online. That's why it's bad, because they are not giving you value. They're ripping you off, as we reviewed the expansion pack here, which I destroyed because I said this is a lazy offering, where they're going to dare to call it an upgrade. They upgrade these games. The controls for the N64 games are abysmal. You are intentionally not offering Virtual Console on your very successful Nintendo Switch that just passed 100 million units sold, because you know that people will buy the games individually and own them rather than signing up for a recurrent revenue source for you, your Nintendo Switch Online subscription service, which you keep adding these weird things to. The latest one is all these years later, we get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC maps. Look, I love Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Amazing game. That, by the way, first came out on the Wii U with Mario Kart 8. But then they brought it to the Switch. It's popped off. It's sold really well since then. Awesome to see. Everyone's thinking, when's Mario Kart 9? It's getting to be that time, right? Wrong. They add DLC to the game, and they're putting it as a part of their expansion pack. This is Nintendo's future. Monetizing nostalgia. Monetizing things that you want and making them inconvenient for you until you buy into the subscription plan. You know what that reminds me of? This is a modern game reference. Fallout 76 with Fallout First, where they took these gameplay mechanics. As a longtime Bethesda Game Studios fan, they took these gameplay mechanics that made the game indefinitely better and said, pay us $15 a month. We need the revenue each month to run this game. Too bad. Especially with Nintendo, I have no remorse for you. I do not feel bad for you. You guys make absurd amounts of money. Let's check the sales for Pokemon Legends Arceus. Oh, it's about to pass 7 million sales, probably way beyond that because it sold that in its first week. What about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl? Oh, almost 14 million units sold. Okay. So it seems like Pokemon's doing quite well. Money's not a problem for Nintendo. They don't need, in my eyes, a recurrent revenue source. They should be leaders saying, we want you to own these games. Here is Virtual Console. Here are your GameCube games. Here is the Game Boy Advance. Here are the Game Boy Color games. All that stuff should be there already. It's inexcusable. But what they've done is they've built up an install base with really good exclusive games and monetizing nostalgia by reselling them. Remember the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection? Just a pure, gross disappointment in my eyes. And I know that's a hot take. I know a lot of this has been a hot take because I don't think many Nintendo YouTubers really bash anything Nintendo does. But oh my God, that collection was so lazy. And that's their star, Mario. It's like Mario, Zelda, Pokemon. Like, you could pick any of those. That's a household name. And they gave it the laziest effort. They barely upgraded anything. And that's how they treat their superstar. And they're claiming they upgrade things to their subscription service. They want your money through nostalgia because, look, I run a channel primarily driven off of nostalgia myself here. I get what nostalgia does. You go, oh man, those were the good times. That made me really happy. That makes me happy now. I want to play that. I'm going to buy that. I get it. I get it. Like, I love reflecting. I love being nostalgic. So I get the irony here, but they are taking your games away. And there's an immediate impact because, yes, while I am a physical game collector, I do play some games digitally. Don't get me wrong. I'm no saint here. But you look at this analysis from Video Games Chronicle, which writes, up to 1,000 digital-only games will disappear when Nintendo closes its 3DS and Wii U stores, which they highlight in total around, actually their updated report says 2,000 games are currently available on the 3DS and Wii U eShop stores in the West, including 450 digital-only Wii U games, around 600 digital-only 3DS games, around 100 Wii U games that are also available physically, around 300 3DS games that are available physically, nearly 530 virtual console games, around 350 of which are not currently available on Nintendo Switch Online. So this isn't a battle, by the way, to keep the 3DS around. I love my 3DS. Okay, I was a Vita guy growing up. I was a Vita guy. But I did like my 3DS. This isn't a battle to keep this bad boy around. As much as I loved it, it can be sunset. That's fine. It's a battle for taking these services that were loved, that did exist on this platform, and bringing them over to your current, very successful hardware. That's what this battle is about. It's not about, while it does stink, this game going up in value, for example, and a ton of other 3DS and Wii U games shooting up in value because the only way you can get them after a certain point in time is going to be the physical route. And I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo walks back a little bit here in some way, shape, or form, but this battle is not about just having the 3DS hang around, the Wii U hang around, because they are relatively dead consoles, right? That's fine. It's about keeping these games in a place where you can access them, and then when you buy them, you own them. That's what it's about. And when you're seeing 2,000 games, over 1,000 games are going to disappear, that's not okay. One of my favorites, I forgot about this until I saw a headline from Nintendo Life. Fire Emblem Fates Revelation and DLCs will also disappear from the eShop. This is a huge loss. I love the Fire Emblem Fates series. I know it's not the favorite one. I know it's not the sexy pick. Like, probably my favorite Fire Emblem game is Awakening, personally. I love that game so much. Really what brought me into the franchise and had all the elements I love, like the romance options and having kids and having them be warriors in my army. I love that stuff. Like, everything about Awakening was awesome. But Fates was such a great continuation. The music was so good. I especially loved Birthright. But Revelation was awesome. And its DLCs were great. And they're getting rid of those. Those are lost because they're digital only. That's the thing that we're also not considering is it costs a lot to put your game on shelves. You got to get a publisher. You got to print them on a cartridge or a disc. In the case of DS, of course, it's a cartridge. The manual, maybe, if you want to do something special for the audience. That's why they cut those down, because they cut costs. You know, a lot of these things are tough and expensive. It's an expensive industry. So some games do go digital only. Some games, especially on the 3DS library, were iterated upon with updates, with DLC. And those will be disappearing from the eShop. And it's deeply frustrating to me because it not only affects the collectors like you and me, who do pick up these games and now we're going to be paying double the price because Nintendo decided to shut them down and not make them available elsewhere, but it's the bullying, in my eyes, into a crappy subscription service. Is that the first time I said a mild curse word on this channel? It might be. But the subscription service is terrible. And I could go on and on. But all I will say in closing is this. Nintendo does not care about you. Wake up. Smell the roses. You can like their games. That's fine. Like, I love Pokemon Legends Arceus. You can love their games and hold them accountable for really bad business practices because they're pulling one over on you here. And while you may not want to make a lot of noise for this bad boy, or especially the Wii U, you should be making some noise for yourself and demanding the virtual console. Because, again, Nintendo does not care about you.